everybody, Arturo Johnson here. Welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast. And in this segment, it's called the Brand Blueprint. We have none other than Mr. Brand himself, Cody Askins, on the show. And today we're going to be talking about all things personal brand, how to build your business, right? To be able to leave a legacy and leave an imprint on people through social media. 8% Nations. Man who needs no introduction, Cody Askins. What's up, bro? Welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast, man.
I love it, man. The brand blueprint version of the Rainmaker. I like it.
Yeah, for sure. So let's start in the beginning. When did you consciously decide to start going serious on social media and building a brand, right? Because you're doing the insurance thing, and that was an amazing journey. Making over 6 figures in 12 months. And then you started coaching people, right? That moment where you're saying you're knocking doors with 2 agents, right? And that story we heard so often. And you realize that maybe coaching is more in your path than that. And it was funny, we were hearing the Greatness Factor, which I'm here right now. And you were telling this story about, like, you thought you were going to be a pastor, right? Or be in some ministry. And you kind of transitioned to this kind of being that ministry where you're able to help coach up so many people to ultimately be able to protect. When did you realize that you really needed to go in on the YouTube, right? Because I remember you started a YouTube channel and started to go hard on social media and build a brand.
Now I'm like a money minister, I never said that, but I like it. You know what's interesting about social? I was very stubborn. I didn't use social really in high school. Didn't really use social media in college. I feel like a lot of people that have built brands, Gary V's, Ty Lopez's, et cetera, they were typically early adopters of social media and different platforms, right? I'm not that. I have not been that dude. I'm kind of becoming that guy, right? But over the years, I have not been. I did not use, even when I first started launching on YouTube, I wasn't using Facebook. I wasn't using Instagram. Even when I started on YouTube, like, I had no clue what I was doing. And I really didn't know what the ultimate goal was. Like, a lot of times people are like, dude, you got to figure out what your why is before you do anything. A lot for me, I kind of figure out what my why is sometimes after doing something,
Right.
And everybody's always like, okay, I want to be perfect and good before I do. But the truth is, man, you learn by doing, and you develop skill and actually get better by doing. And so I started out putting out terrible freaking videos, you know what I mean? With 12 viewers, me, my mom, all my sisters, my girlfriend at the time, whatever. And actually, I guess when I first started on YouTube, I was married. When I first started insurance, I wasn't. But when I first started on YouTube, I was. And and so Lauren would watch it 4 times of the 12, and so I would constantly be putting out content initially, not knowing where it would lead. I just saw, like, David Duford and a couple others were, like, putting out, really basically only him, just about a couple other people, Chris Westfall, a few others that were putting out content in our industry. But I'm like, man, dude, I'm young, I'm mid-20s. I made 6 figures my first year. I'm confident I can help bring value to other people. So I started putting out videos like, hey, I made $8,000 this week. Here's how you can do it too. Follow these 7 steps for the brand blueprint, whatever. And it started growing. Like, people started reaching out from literally all over the country. When an agent would be like, hey, can we work with you? Hey, can we get leads from you? Hey, can you train us? Hey, do you have any events we can go to? Hey, what do you do? What would you say? How to overcome objections? This and that. And they started reaching out. It took a while, though, for the brand. Like, the first 12 months, terrible. First 12 months, only 351 YouTube subscribers, which is atrocious. But we stayed at it. Like anybody in life, we stayed at it. And then agents started reaching out over time. And then it grew into multiple different 7-figure companies and multiple different 6-figure following channels. And here we are today.
Yeah, for sure. So take me back to the beginning, because one of the things that most people struggle with is worrying about how they're going to look on camera and how they're going to sound. And they have all these things made up in their head about what other people are going to think about them by putting content out online. So how are you able to just kind of overcome that or break through that just to consistently continue to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I worry about what people think too. I still do. And I really did back then. What's interesting is too, when you first start doing content, you will start to be more critical of the way you look. And so like I remember 2018 doing a conference in content, and I was like, dude, I gotta freaking work out, bro. Like I'm like borderline anorexic. Like I'm tiny, you know? And so I actually start going to the gym every day and putting in some work. Now, even over a year ago, I was like, dude, I'm in shape, but I'm still kind of small. So then I started doing the push-ups thing, you know? What's interesting about the brand thing is it ends up impacting way more facets of your actual life than just the brand, you know?
Mm.
And here's what's unique about the brand that, well, you know, branding that most people don't realize is that there are 4.8 billion people in the world using social media, 150 plus million new users in the last 12 months. And the average person spends 2 hours and 24 minutes a day on social media. That's literally over 1/12 of a day. So
Mm.
over a year, they spend over a month doing this, right? In 12 years, they spent over a year doing this. And if they live to be 84, they spent over 7 years of their life, 7, 8, 9 years of their entire life doing this, right?
Yeah,
Which
that's
is
crazy.
nuts.
Yeah, man. And it's so funny because we talk about physical assets and real estate. A lot of people love real estate and appreciation. Well, people don't realize that social media is a digital asset, right? And I've been studying this guy called Daniel Priestley, and he wrote this book called Key Person of Influence. And there's a one line in this book where he says, income follows assets. And I was like,
Hmm.
income follows assets. I was like, oh, that makes sense because like the most successful in the world, people in the world, they either have the most assets, right, or they have the best ones. And I'm like, well, an asset. What is an asset? It's an asset is something that generates cash revenue, puts money in your pocket, and a liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. I was like, well, my Instagram is an asset. It's a
Mhm.
digital asset. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I've got $1 million worth of real estate between two houses that I have, but my Instagram is worth more than that because it produces $100,000 a month, right? For me
Mhm.
using that. So I'm like, well, it also appreciates for every piece of content that I post on there, it gets better and more valuable. So I'm like, well, if people really just looked at these things as these digital assets, and every time you create a piece of content, it's an asset that can appreciate, right? Like you can give yourself a raise every single day.
Yep. Yep. It's living online forever. Nice thing about YouTube is it is up there forever. Like, yeah, the people aren't seeing my old Instagram stuff, but dude, they're seeing my YouTube stuff forever, you know? Um, I mean, I went online. It was funny. I went online and searched how to sell life. I had somebody else do it from a different office a few days ago. How to sell life insurance. Just Google it and then go look at the videos. And I think we were like 3 of the first 5 or 4 of the first 6 or, you know, whatever it was. Like it was a lot, right? Well, it doesn't mean that we're necessarily the best at doing it, even though now we probably are. The truth
Right.
is, we started off terrible. I didn't have a Dylan who knew what the freak he was doing, right?
Right.
Or a Blake. And now, you know, because of Dylan, dude, we've got almost 3,000 videos on YouTube, over 10,000 videos online. Like if you are frequent enough, a lot of this branding blueprint game is frequency, right? It
Yeah, for
really is.
sure.
And so if you're frequent enough, good things will start to happen.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, man, shout out to Blake. I started working with him last year and went from 900 followers to 90,000 followers, getting
That's awesome.
consistent, right, with the frequency and the style. So you gave those statistics, right? And so I'm thinking like, man, that means that like social media is a vital part of your business, right? Like you put on a conference every year with the minimum of 1,000 insurance agents. And
Yep.
I spoke at the last one and speaking at this next one, and I'm standing on stage and I'm like, you guys don't realize that social media is so powerful that the person that you're sitting next to, this room, this whole entire event is leverage from social media. The reason why we're all here is here, and this is how we're connecting. And so, for someone who is not thinking, "Oh, well, I'm not a social media person," or "I hate social media," it's a
Mm.
tool to leverage your business. And so, I'm curious on how much has social media impacted your business, and more importantly, like you said, that story about how you've used social media to impact other people.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Here's an example, right? So we have a YouTube short about me doing push-ups, right? Doing 100 push-ups a day for 365 days. I did it 364. Um, we did that video in the last 48 days has 656,000 views.
Wow.
Number one YouTube short we've ever put up. It started off really slow. And what's crazy is you can see the curve. Like, it started off, and for the first literally the first 20 days, nothing, right? Nothing. Well, now it's got, you can see the curve, like the first 20 days, it does nothing. And then it just freaking shoots up, man, like crazy, right? To where now it's got
Yeah, hockey stick growth right there.
656,000 views, right? Well, I didn't say anything special, but a lot of social is like the initial hook, right? So if I click on this and see, what did I say? I do 5 things every day, but I did 100 push-ups a day. I did it 265 days in a row. Like, that's how I start the clip, right? And so if you're ever done push-ups, or you're into fitness, or you've ever thought about doing something like that, or you're interested in daily habits or success, entrepreneur, or whatever, that something like that will naturally get your attention.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up because like it's gotten even easier to post on social media with the short form content. And a lot of the things that we're doing now is we're teaching social media marketing and the social funnel to life insurance agents to get clients. And the framework is very simple. It's qualifying, calling out your ideal clients, given, like you said, 5 things, but given 3 bullet points of value, and then giving them a call to action, right? And so, it's not really that difficult because it's short. It's 60 seconds, 90 seconds. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
if you're a life insurance agent and you're struggling to get from 10K a month to 40K a month, there's 3 things that you need. You need to be able to generate high quality leads. You need a predictable process to generate appointments, and you need a rinse and repeat process to take a stranger and turn them into a paying client in one phone call. If you like this video, follow me for more content or click the link below. It's not that complicated, but it's the person. I say it's not the person who knows the most. It's the person who shows the most, who shows up the most. And you got to show up every single day consistently. So how has that been a compounding effect for you, consistently putting out content and videos?
Yeah, I mean, everything becomes a habit, like, if you want it to. And so people are like, "Dude, I'm not good at videos. I don't like doing videos. I'm not used to posting videos." Whatever the case may be. Dude, I didn't like doing videos. I didn't do very many videos, Well, I didn't do anything till I was mid-20s, early 20s. Dude, I didn't even touch social media. I didn't touch videos, didn't touch Instagram, hated Facebook. I'm still not a Facebook fan. Like, I think Facebook's for old people, and for advertising. That's about it. Like, I'm not, it's a pay to play platform. I'm not a fan. Like, people love freaking Facebook groups. Dude, I'm not a Facebook group guy, because I'm not gonna sit in a Facebook group and babysit people all day and make sure people are getting along, like that ain't my style. I'm not good at that stuff. However, if you want to get good at anything, or you want anything to become a habit, just do it every single day. And eventually, 5 times a week, whatever. And eventually it'll become a habit. It'll become normal. And before you know it, you'll be picking up your phone, just like Arturo is, videoing in the middle of a video, just because you're used to doing it over time. And so I'll catch myself, like, we'll be in a situation where something will happen. Laura and I will be at a restaurant, and I'll be like, boom. And she's like, "How the freak did you know to get the video out so quick?" She's like, you were in what are the shooting competition where you're like trying to draw the gun."
Yes, quick draw.
Quick draw. Like, dude, I got a quick draw when it comes to Instagram stories, And so it's a habit, like, it's second nature. But again, anything, it's like, because, like, okay, here's an example. I had a lady text me earlier. She sold 3 life insurance policies today, but she said, I had to build up confidence to close more deals before I would start closing more deals. Well, you know what happens? She had to make it a habit before she felt comfortable doing it. And then the more comfortable you feel, the more confident you feel. And then before you know it, and when you've done it, like if you rode a bike a bunch, dude, you start to feel comfortable riding a bike, speaking, any of this stuff. It's doing it and getting out and realizing you're going to suck. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail.
Yeah.
You're going to hate it. But okay, here's an example. Most people are like, "Well, I don't enjoy doing videos, so I'm never going to do videos." Okay. You think like, I was learning how to fly and I was getting my pilot's license. My very first session I went to, I had a t-shirt on, a hoodie, and a jacket because it was like really cold. It was in the wintertime. I sweat through in the first 30 minutes. I sweat through all of it. Sweat was coming outside of my jacket, t-shirt, hoodie, and jacket all the way through.
What
Sweat
were you
stains
like, nervous?
everywhere. I was nervous. I was freaking out, man. I mean, literally, first time he's like taking us up in the air. And he's like, okay, now turn left. Wait, I don't know how to freaking turn left. Turn right. I don't know how to turn right. Take a nosedive. I'm like, what are you talking about? Take a nosedive. We just got in the plane. This is my first time, right? Well, dude, I was freaking out. I was terrified. Okay. I go home and I'm like, I get down to the ground and I'm like, it's like when somebody finally the car finally gets somewhere and you jump out and you're like, oh my gosh, land finally. Dude, I get there, I get out of the plane, I go home and I'm like, holy freak, I was nervous. I was terrified. I don't think I ever want to do that again. That sucked. Do you think I went back the next day? Yeah. And every single time I went back, it got easier. It got better. It actually got more fun. You know, like my sister was playing softball as a kid. And she went to my dad and she's like, man, I gotta go to the bathroom and I need to be drinking water and I'm getting dirt all over me and I'm getting hurt and I'm skinning my knee and I'm like her first softball practice as a kid. My sister Katie, she's like, I don't want to do this softball thing. You think my dad just didn't let her ever go back to a softball field? No, right? So the first time you do video, dude, you're gonna bomb, you're gonna hate it, it's gonna suck. First time you do anything, but keep showing up.
Yeah, man, keep showing up. And so what keeps you showing up, man? Like, because I know I can remember the first time I went to the YMCA and I'm just getting on the treadmill and I'm kind of having kind of one of those mornings where I'm running a little bit behind. So I'm kind of like just in my own head. And a guy walks past my treadmill and he pulls his AirPod out and he's like, you're Arturo, you help life insurance agents, right? And you just don't know, what kind of impact you're having on people. And then when you're out and people see you, like, that's powerful. But another thing, because I was talking to John Wetmore about this, was you kind of indoctrinate people and you kind of train people on how to come to you, right? So John Wetmore was saying, like, as he's went all on in his brand in the last 12 months, he started speaking a certain way to the people that he's trying to attract to his organization. And now they start coming to him saying, yeah, I already know it's about the numbers. I already know I need to treat this like a 9 to 5 and work 40 hours a week. Like, you start to train people and your ideal customers or your future business partners to work with you as leverage, right? Because you can have the conversation ahead of time where people can make up their mind before they actually connect with you. Saves us both a lot of time. And you can both get the end result that you're looking for. So how has it influenced your business wise, your bottom line for making sales?
Oh, dude, it's crazy. Like, I have a small brand it's big in insurance, but dude, I have a small brand globally compared to most big influencers. But I've been recognized in airports and Starbucks and like my team's been with me and it's happened like multiple times on one single trip. Just a random person where I have an insurance event. I remember one time I was in the Bahamas speaking at an insurance event. I took a private jet from Bahamas to Dominican to speak at another insurance event in the Dominican. When I landed at the private airport, the guy that's picking us up, that's going to drive us to the resort, we booked a chauffeur, walks in. He's like, you're Cody Askins. I'm like, yeah, that's because you're picking me up, bro. Like, no, he's like, no.
You already know this,
he's like, I have an insurance license in the Dominican. I'm learning insurance and I watch all your freaking videos. And he's like getting a picture and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, shut up. You're messing with me. He's like, no, I swear. Right. And then he starts showing me the channel. He's subscribed and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Well, if people know you, it is easier for you to help someone because their trust level goes up a lot. Like, dude, I could have said whatever, dude. I could have said, hey, if you don't drive at least 90 miles an hour the whole way there, I'm never talking to you again. Dude, he may have done it. Like, is that a little wacky? Sure. But your trust level in someone goes up when you have seen them a bunch, right? And when my team is talking to insurance agents all over the world and helping them, right? Like, we had somebody in our Ultimate Agent Academy jump in last night and they're like, bro, dude, nobody helps agents like you. You're always innovating and creating and like pushing, right? Well, our team is talking to agents all day. And don't you think it's so much easier for us to help an agent if they have learned about us? Like, if people were wanting to recruit, dude, one of the best ways to recruit, build a brand, bring value, and then people will start to be attracted to what you do. So, dude, it's been a complete game changer. it's definitely made me in excess of, I don't even know, 50 million bucks maybe, the last
Yeah, it's
8 years.
insane. Yeah, it's definitely insane. And it's one of the things that, like, if people know these three things kind of coming into the call, it's almost a shoo-in that they're gonna, buy. If they already know kind of your backstory, right? They kind of sold you. If they say that they've consumed a bunch of your content, right? And if they're sold on the mechanism of what you're trying to offer them, if they've already been informed of these three things, right? Like the authority, your backstory, so they know, like, and trust you, and the mechanism that they're already kind of. So then it's really just a conversation about making it work economically
Yep.
on the call, which is what we do on the call, but we could do a lot of that stuff ahead of time if we leverage social media. And
100%.
so as we kind of transition to kind of wrapping this up, for somebody like a life insurance agent where, they're just now coming online, that, before they were doing in home and now they're in telesales, right? And now we're in the AI age and they're just now coming into this social media thing. So they're already, quote unquote, an online generation behind. It's because it's going to be more important. More
Yeah.
competitors, more dollars from the lead vendors, and all this FCC stuff is going into Facebook advertising. So people are going to be coming in at the top of the market. The number one way that you can differentiate yourself in this day and age is to have a personal brand. And so I'm curious, on your scale to 10, how important is having a personal brand to the necessity of growing your business or any business as they're coming online today?
Dude, it's insanely important. Like, if you think about it, when anybody wants to learn anything, what is the first thing they do? They go to Google or YouTube, or if they're looking up a company or a restaurant, dude, they're going online, right? They're searching. And one of the best way, I mean, the best leads you can ever get is somebody literally finds you online organically and reaches out to you, right?
Mm,
Ads from social second, but dude, organic?
is the best.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's incredible. It's
I
crazy.
consumed all your content. I just watched your last YouTube video. You already know they're gonna buy.
Correct. Correct. Yep, you do. It's unbelievable, man. Like, it's been a huge game changer with everything that we do. Like, I'll give you an example. We just did our communication blueprint speaker school. Starting to do more of these speaker schools. I love speaking, love helping people tell their stories and get good at speaking and call to actions and all this stuff. The one thing people make a mistake with when building a brand is they tell their story once and they think everybody's heard it.
Mm,
Here's an example. I was speaking in an office in Jersey, an insurance office, running their sales meeting, which was a blast. And I start off the meeting by saying, "Who does not know my story?" And most of the room raised their hand, because they're agents, a part of this operation. The owners know who I am, but not all the agents do yet, right? And so I'm like, okay, why would I speak or train them without telling them my story first? And I think that's where I've done a good job of connecting with people, telling stories of origin. Certain stories ring a bell. People remember me telling all these freaking crazy same stories all the time, right? Because I'm becoming relatable. I'm building trust. I'm connecting with an audience. And most people don't think they need to keep telling their story. Dude, you got to always tell your story.
yeah. And what's funny about that is because we don't think about the other person. Going there, we're just talking about our product, our pieces, our process. And it's like the number one underlying question, there's two of them that people are having in their head, is like, okay, what is this person trying to sell me and why? Right. And then it's like, well, what gives you the authority to be able to talk on the subject? Everybody wants to know, like, well, what makes you an expert at that? And when you tell your origin story, you can either share with them how you learned it or how you earned
Mhm.
it, right? And that's what's so important with that. And that ultimately humanizes you, lowers the sales resistance, right? And it shows people that you actually are master at your craft and care about what you do. So when you tell that backstory over and over and over again, that story of origin, it allows you to connect with more people. And I'm sure you've seen that since you started doing it. I know you did it on
Mhm.
stage in front of 1,000 people, and you've been doing it since the last 3 or 4 times. Came to my mastermind in Nashville and done it a couple times. You did it here at the Greatness Factory. I started doing it also, and it's increased my sales closing percentage because I wasn't leading with that. I was like, oh, they already know who I am. They already know my authority. But when I slowed down, that was the majority of the sales process, is me just sharing with them how I actually got here and why I'm the person to help help them grow. So the power of telling your story is so powerful. I'm glad you mentioned that.
It is. It's crazy powerful. Yeah. It's a big piece, big missing piece that people forget. I mean, Jesus spoke in parables. We always hear facts tell, stories sell. Dude, people relate to stories. Like if I'm ever talking in a room and I can tell that I lost the audience and they're not paying attention, one of the first things I will do is stop what I'm saying and pivot to a story, and the whole room will look up.
That's incredible. Well, Cody, man, definitely great to have you on this segment of the Brand Blueprint. It's always amazing. It's always great to spend time with you. Looking forward to some of the next road shows that you have coming up. So I'll let you tell the audience about the next few that you have coming up and some other amazing things that you have in store that they may not know about, and ultimately leading into your huge event. So go ahead. I'll let you lead the floor and wrap this one up.
Let's do it, buddy. Appreciate that. So we're going to Orlando, Charlotte, and Houston is our 3 next stops for 8% Roadshow. That's a 1-day, 1-idea tour. And then we also have our big Aperest Nation conference. We will have more agents in attendance this year than we've ever had for sure. It's July 17th through the 20th in Springfield, Missouri, just down the street in my home city at the Expo Center. It's just like the Beatles meets insurance, crazy energy, production, fireworks, freaking incredible speakers, jamming music. Like it's edutainment. It's education with entertainment.
For sure. Well, man, I'm excited to support in any way I can, and I'm looking forward to the connections, the community, and the parties, because I know there's going to be some cool stuff going on. You're going to have to show out if you're going to have it in your hometown. Show off Springfield a little bit to connect with you and 8% Nation. Again, buddy, thanks for being on the Brand Blueprint.